Good morning. What's up, everybody? Gonna go over some tickers this morning, look for some plays for the day, set up some alerts, some price targets, stop losses. Gonna be doing some charting here and going over my thought process on these. So I've gone ahead and compiled a list. On that list right now, let's see, we have Facebook, BA, Mrna, Netflix, QQQ, and Rivian that I'm going to be going over. So I'm going to start with Facebook here, and the reason I picked Facebook, it's very hard to see, but this bar here is an inside bar. So to figure out our price targets and levels, we are going to plot the high of the previous candle and the low. Then we are going to take our Fibonacci and draw it from the low to the high for the upside, and then I'm going to switch to the 5-minute. So for Facebook, go ahead and set up this alert. We'll be looking for Facebook over 219.67. And we'll be looking at, let me get logged into my broker here. So Facebook over 219.67. Be looking at the 222.50 calls. Expiration 325. Price targets being 220.44. 221.44, and if you notice, that's at the top of our fib. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another fib from this leg here, and if you can see, they line up completely with that one. So the 78.6 is the same as the 10%. So our next two price targets that I'm going to set, $221.44, then we're going to be looking at 222.18, and then 223.28. Stop loss below entry, which we're taking an entry above 219.67. So our stop loss would be 219.12 right here at your 50% fib. Or you could even go a little lower if you wanted, to about 219 to give yourself a little bit more room for the trade to breed. Keep it at that psychological level. And our risk to reward on this trade, if we redraw this, and we go to so we're looking over 219.67 as our entry. Then our stop was 219.12. Our take profit was 223.28. So 219.12, and our entry was 219.67. Risk to reward on that is huge at a 6.56. Now we'll look at the downside. So we've got that alert set up here. So I'm going to go ahead, post this to the chat. Get signed in. For some reason it's doing something weird. So now we're going to look at the downside here. Of Facebook. So now we'll be looking at the downside on Facebook. So we'll get rid of both of these fibs. We still got the high plotted to the low. So now we're going to draw our fib from the high to the low. Which if we come back over here to the daily, just to verify. Delete this. High of this candle is 216.80. Low 216.80. Low being 212.16. So if we come back over here to the 5, so we are looking for a break below 210.18. So we're looking for a break. See, we're real close here to this 38.2 fib, which is 210.39, and our low for the breakout of the inside bar is 210.18. So we're just going to go ahead and use 210.18. So we're going to set up an alert here. So Facebook under 210.18. I'll be looking at the 207.50 puts. Expiration 325. Price targets, we're going to use our fib lines here. So our first one would be 209.84, which would be our 50% fib. Our second price target would be 209.29, which would be our 61.8. Then we've got 208.51 for our 78.6, and 207.52 for our final price target. Our stop loss we're going to set below entry, so we entered here at the white line. If we get a clean break to the downside under 210.18, so our stop loss of 210.39 would be a little too close for me, so I'm going to use the 27.2 and do 210.90. And then our risk to reward on this trade, if the final price target is met, so we enter at 210.18. Our final profit would be 207.52. And our stop loss would be 210.90. So risk to reward on that's at 3.69. That is a pretty good return on that trade. So I'm going to go ahead and post this trade to the chat as well. Risk to reward's a 3.69. Copy this, put it in the chat for you guys. Gonna get rid of all these drawings here. So we've gone ahead and set up our alerts. So we've got one to the bottom for 210.18 for puts, and one to the top over 219.67. So next I want to look at Boeing. We also have another inside bar set up on the daily. Sorry, that's Baba. So here we go. I'm going to get rid of these alerts I made last night. We'll redo this from scratch. So for the inside bar, this yellow bar, which is an inside bar, it's inside of the previous bar. So in order to play this, we're going to wait for a breakout above the previous bar's high or below. So now for upside, we're going to plot our fib from the bottom of the last bar to the top of the last bar. And that is going to give us our entries and exits. So we want to enter here above 192.86, which is just above the 50% fib. That automatically gives us our next three price targets. So we're going to set this up. Go ahead and set up this alert. So we're looking for BA over 192.86. And if I pull up the broker, 192.86, we'll be looking at the 195 calls. Expiration 325. So price targets would be 193.33 would be our first one at your 61.8 fib. Your second one would be 194.20 19, and your third price target would be 195.29. We will set our stop loss below our entry, so we entered on a break of this white bar here at 192.86. So using 192.73 is a little too tight, so I'm going to bring it down to 192.12 will be our stop loss. And our risk to reward return on this trade, if all price targets are hit. So draw this out. So we take an entry at 192.86 on that break. And then we take profit at 195.29. And our stop loss would be 192.12. Risk to reward on that's over a 3.28, which is really good as well. So risk to reward on what you guys are getting back on your trades is very, very important. Measuring your risk tolerance, protecting your capital. Always want to make sure to cut your losers fast and move on. Don't fall in love with the trade. So we have this alert set up, and go ahead and send this one to the chat as well. Now we're going to do downside here on BA. So I'm going to go back to the daily, and I'm going to draw my fib from the top of that candle to the bottom of that candle. So for a bearish outlook or a downtrend, you want to go from the top to the bottom. For bullish, you want to go from the bottom to the top. And you can use these Fibonacci's on any time frame. Okay, so here, if we look this up, we can see the low of the day of that previous candle that made the current candle that the fib is drawn on is exactly lined up with the 10% fib. And we are only plotted here from the high to the low. So we're plotted from here to here. So we are going to wait for a break below 184.52. So BA under 184.52. And our price targets here, about 3 down, brings us to 182.50 area. So we're going to go with the 182.50 puts. Expiration 325. Price targets, first one would be 183.63. Your second one would be 183.07, which would be your 38.2. Your third would be 182.47. Stop loss is below the entry, so we'll set our stop loss here at the 0% fib, which would be 185.03. I'm just going to call it 185 on the head. And if we calculate our risk to reward on this trade, so we entered at 184.52. Final profit was at 182.42. And our stop loss was at 185. 184.52. Risk to reward on that trade is also above a 3, a 3.5. So these breakouts are just going to be great if we can nail one of them. We just set up these alerts. I don't know what the hell just happened. We set up these alerts and we just wait for the triggers to happen, guys. And then we enter the trade and we stick to our plan and our stop loss, and at our price targets we scale. So I'm going to send this one to the chat as well. So we've gone over BA and Facebook to the upside and the downside. So what else do I got? I got Nflx, Mrna Qqq, and Rivn. So QQQ. I'm going to go over QQQ. Might run out of time here, so I'm going to try to knock this one out. Got an inside bar on QQQ too, so this is a pretty important ticker that a lot of us trade, so we're going to go over this. So for inside bar setup again, we are going to plot the high and the low of the previous candle. Our yellow bar here is the inside bar from yesterday, and it is inside the prior day's bar. It didn't break the high or the low of that bar, so it is inside. So now for the upside, we're going to plot our Fibonacci from the low to the high. I'm going to switch to the 5-minute here. So 0% fib is right there around the same price as our high. So we're going to go ahead and set up an alert on this. We're going to look for QQQ over 357.85. So QQQ over 357.85. Pull up the broker here. Over 357. And if we look at our price targets here, 358, 359, 360. So we'll look at the 359 calls. Price targets. Going to use just our fib levels. So your first one would be 358.25. Your second would be 359.26. And your third would be 359.91. And you guys can't see it, so I'm going to drag it up. But I'm just setting up the alerts here. I'm looking for a break crossing over 357.85. That's my trigger. And then down here in the message, I am setting up my play so that I know exactly what I'm looking at, and my price targets I'm looking to scale at, and my stop loss. Stop loss I'm going to set below the entry, but if we look, this stop loss or this fib level is way below my liking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go about the middle in between the 0% fib and the 28.2, and we are going to set our stop loss there. That line is at 356.95. So stop loss 356.95. Then our risk to reward on this trade so we entered at 357.85. Our profit level was 359.91, and our stop loss, which we set, was 356.95. Hold on, this thing's acting a little funny here. I was in the short side. I was looking at the wrong one. So entry 357.85. Profit 359.91. And our stop loss was at 356.95. So risk to reward here is also more than double your money of a 2.29. So that is a really good return. So we got a 2.29 here. So go ahead and put that in here. Put that in the chat. So now I'm going to do the downside. And we may be able to get one more ticker in as well. So from the downside, if we come back here to the daily, I'm going to get rid of this stop loss that I had marked for the upside. We're going to plot our fib lines from the high of the candle to the low. I'm going to switch back to the 5. And then if we look here, we've only plotted our fib so we plot our fib from the high to the low if we go diagonal. And if you look here, like I said, I've only plotted from here to here, and this is just the power of the Fibonacci lines. Look at the low of the previous day that I've marked here with this white line. It's almost directly on top of the 27.2. That right there just proves that the algos are in control. I mean, I didn't plot anything. And if you look at these levels, I mean, where it bounces, it's almost methodical to watch to me. So if we set up an alert on QQQ, we're looking for a break below 350.12. So QQQ below 350.12. Under 350, we'll be looking at the 348 puts, expiration 325. Price targets, we're just going to use our fib levels here. So your first one would be 349.45. Your second price target would be 348.73. And your third price target, which is a 61.8. The 61.8 and the 78.6 fibs are very important because normally those are either the side of the bulls or the bears where they better act fast, or the bulls or the bears are going to win. So you will normally see a bounce off those levels. So if you're going to the downside, you'll probably see a bounce off the 61.8. And then it might go up a little bit and come back down, and then it might go lower to the 78.6. But if whichever side does not defend that 78.6, it is going to be a losing game, and it is going to be for sure a downtrend with no sign of reversal. So 348.73 and then 348.01. Sorry, I was getting off topic. Our stop loss we're going to set below at 351.16. So our stop loss we entered here at the 27.2 fib. We'll set our stop at the 10% fib at 351.16. And our risk to reward on this trade, so our entry was at 350.12. Entry at 350.12. Our take profit was at 348.01. And our stop loss was at 351.16, yielding us still double your money over a 2 on the risk to reward ratio. So I'm going to take this, and this is below at 350.12. And I'm going to post this in the chat as well. I wanted to cover a few more tickers, guys, but I need to get some coffee, get ready for market open, so I'm sorry. Thank you for joining. I'm going to post this final price target and stop loss in the chat. If you guys found my content helpful, please hit the like button, comment, leave a message, subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks. Have a good day.